When you've been hurt, disappointed, or left wondering where you stand with someone, it's so tempting to make them the center of your thoughts, your conversations, and even your actions. You replay every word they said, you search for signs in their behavior, and before you know it, your entire energy is orbiting around them. But here's the truth: every ounce of energy you give away to someone else without balance is an ounce you take away from yourself. And when you make someone else your focus, you hand them the power to control your emotions, your peace, and your sense of worth. That is why in this moment you must turn the mirror back toward you and shift the focus where it truly belongs, on yourself. Shifting focus is not about ignoring them out of spite. It's not about pretending you don't care when inside you're breaking. It's about making a conscious choice to stop pouring into a cup that doesn't pour back into you. It's about saying, I matter enough to invest in me first. When you pour your attention into your own well-being, you begin to reclaim the parts of yourself that you may have lost in the process of loving, chasing, or hoping for someone else's approval. This is the time to nourish yourself on every level. Start with your mind. Feed it with knowledge, inspiration, and new perspectives that make you grow. Read books that stretch you. Listen to messages that uplift you. Have conversations that spark ideas instead of drain your spirit. Reintroduce yourself to hobbies and passions you may have put aside while you were caught up in someone else's orbit. Let your mind know that it has so much more to focus on than the one person you can't stop thinking about. Then turn to your body. Treat it like the vessel of power it is. Move it in ways that make you feel alive. Walk, dance, stretch, lift, breathe. Fuel it with what nourishes you, not what numbs you. Care for your appearance, not because you want them to notice, but because you want to look in the mirror and see someone who honors themselves. When you feel good physically, you project a quiet confidence that speaks louder than any words you could ever send in a text. And then the heart, the part of you that feels everything so deeply. This is where you must be gentle yet firm with yourself. Give yourself permission to feel the loss, the confusion, the frustration, but don't live there. Process it, release it, and then refill that space with things that bring you joy. Surround yourself with people who uplift you. Create moments of laughter and lightness. Show your heart that it is still capable of joy without the presence or permission of another person. When you make this shift, something powerful happens. You start to radiate a different kind of energy. The kind that doesn't chase, doesn't beg, and doesn't block out of bitterness. You radiate the energy of someone who knows their own value and doesn't need anyone else to define it. That kind of energy is magnetic. It draws in respect, attention, and opportunities without you having to lift a finger. And often, the very person you stop centering will start to notice the change because you are no longer feeding the dynamic that kept you in a place of imbalance. But here's the most important part. This isn't about making them come back or making them see your worth. This is about you finally seeing your own worth so clearly that whether they return or not becomes irrelevant. Because when you shift your focus back to yourself, you stop living life waiting for someone else to validate your existence. You start living as if you already have everything you need, and in truth, you do. In the end, the real magic is not in what happens to them when you make this shift. It's in what happens to you. When emotions run high, it's easy to feel like you're at the mercy of every thought and feeling that comes flooding in. Anger, frustration, sadness, longing, they can overwhelm you and push you to act in ways you might later regret. But here's the truth: no one else can control your peace unless you allow them to. Maintaining emotional composure isn't about suppressing how you feel or pretending everything is okay. It's about stepping into a place of inner strength where your reactions are measured, intentional, and rooted in your own sense of self-worth. When you master this, you no longer give others the power to dictate your mood or your decisions. The first step is awareness. Recognize the moments when your emotions are trying to take control. Maybe it's the urge to text impulsively, to call out of desperation, or to react angrily to something that feels unfair. Whatever it is, pause. Take a deep breath and allow yourself to notice the feeling without immediately acting on it. This pause creates a space between stimulus and response, a space where you reclaim your power. In that space, you can choose how to respond rather than reacting out of habit or fear. Maintaining composure also means understanding the root of your emotions. Often what triggers us is not just the other person's behavior, but unresolved patterns within ourselves. Maybe it's past hurt, fear of rejection, or unmet needs. When you explore these layers and face them honestly, you remove the blind spots that make you reactive. You begin to see situations clearly without the distortion of unchecked feelings. This clarity allows you to respond with wisdom rather than impulse. Another critical part of composure is self-soothing. Life will throw challenges your way, and not everyone you encounter will meet you with kindness or understanding. Learn to nurture yourself in those moments, whether it's through quiet reflection, journaling, physical activity, or connecting with supportive friends. Create reliable ways to calm your nervous system and reset your emotional state. When you can regulate your emotions internally, external circumstances have far less sway over your peace. Composure also thrives on perspective. Remind yourself that you cannot control others, only your own actions and reactions. Someone else's choices, words, or neglect are a reflection of them, not a measure of your worth. When you keep this perspective at the forefront, it becomes easier to respond with dignity rather than impulsivity. You protect yourself from unnecessary pain while also sending a quiet message that your life and your emotional state are yours to govern. Practicing composure is not a one-time effort. It is a discipline, a daily choice to show up grounded even when life feels chaotic. You might stumble, and that's natural, but every moment you recover, pause, and respond with integrity, you build resilience. This resilience becomes magnetic. People notice calm strength more than desperation or drama. It commands respect, and it changes the way you experience relationships, not because others change overnight, but because you are no longer participating in energy that doesn't serve you. Finally, maintaining emotional composure allows you to act with intentionality. You can speak your truth without attacking, set boundaries without guilt, and make decisions based on clarity rather than fear. Your choices become reflections of your values and your self-respect. This is not passive or weak, it is the highest form of strength. When you practice this consistently, you create a life where your peace is protected, your dignity intact, and your presence undeniable. In the end, emotional composure is the quiet power that transforms frustration into clarity, chaos into wisdom, and reaction into choice. It is not about controlling others. It is about mastering yourself, and that mastery changes everything. Creating space without cutting ties is one of the most powerful moves you can make in any relationship, yet it is so often misunderstood. Space is not rejection, and it is not punishment. It is a conscious act of self-preservation and clarity. When you allow distance to exist without severing the connection entirely, you are giving both yourself and the other person room to breathe, to reflect, and to see the dynamic for what it truly is. It is in this space that perspective grows, and with perspective comes power. You are no longer entangled in reactive cycles of need, frustration, or confusion. Instead, you observe, you learn, and you decide from a place of calm instead of desperation. This space begins with intention. You have to set the boundary in your mind first, understanding that your priority is your own mental and emotional health. You can still care about someone without making their behavior the lens through which you define your happiness. By giving yourself this room, you are effectively saying, I am choosing to protect my peace and honor my value, and that is an act of strength, not weakness. Distance allows your emotions to settle, and your thoughts to clarify. You can step back from constant analysis, from reading into every word or action, and from trying to control outcomes that are never fully in your hands. In practice, creating space doesn't always mean a dramatic withdrawal. It might be as simple as taking time to focus on your own routines, hobbies, and growth, or as deliberate as limiting communication without completely disappearing. The key is consistency and mindfulness. You are not disappearing to punish them or manipulate outcomes. You are choosing to engage with your life fully while letting the relationship breathe. This subtle yet powerful shift often changes the dynamics naturally. People begin to notice the absence of constant attention, and it forces them to reflect on their own behaviors and intentions. Sometimes this is the wake-up call that inspires change, but even if it does not, your own life continues to thrive independently, and that is the ultimate reward. Another benefit of space is clarity. When you are too close to someone emotionally, it's difficult to see patterns or truths. Space allows you to step back and observe without the fog of constant emotional reactivity. You can recognize what truly serves you, what aligns with your values, and what is simply habit or attachment. It gives you the ability to respond consciously instead of react impulsively, and that is transformative. You begin to see the relationship for what it is rather than what you hope it will be. Maintaining this balance requires trust in yourself and patience. You may feel the urge to check in, to reach out, or to demand reassurance, but every time you resist that urge, you are reinforcing your own authority over your life and your emotions. You are practicing the art of self-discipline, and with that comes self-respect. This is the space where growth happens both within you and sometimes within the other person. When someone sees that you are no longer emotionally entangled, it can trigger reflection, responsibility, or even change on their part. Not because you forced it, but because your presence is now measured by integrity, not desperation. Ultimately, creating space without cutting ties is about balance. Protecting yourself while remaining open, honoring your needs while allowing the universe to unfold naturally. It is an act of faith in yourself and in the process of life. You are not punishing, you are not begging, and you are not manipulating. You are simply holding your center, and that centeredness shifts everything. When you practice this, you discover that power does not lie in control or in clinging, but in the quiet confidence of presence and distance working together. The results are not always immediate, but over time, life aligns with those who know how to stand firm in their peace while giving space for natural flow. Strengthening your boundaries is one of the most essential acts of self-respect you can practice, yet it's often misunderstood. Boundaries are not walls built to isolate or punish others. They are clear markers that define what is acceptable and what is not, what honors you and what drains you. When you establish boundaries, you are making a bold statement to yourself and to others that your peace, your energy, and your dignity are non-negotiable. They are a declaration that you will no longer tolerate behaviors, words, or situations that compromise your sense of self. The first step in strengthening boundaries is clarity. You must take the time to understand what you need, what you will accept, and what will disrupt your balance. This requires honest reflection and sometimes difficult self-examination. Ask yourself what behaviors trigger feelings of discomfort, disrespect, or depletion. Identify the patterns in your relationships that leave you feeling undervalued or manipulated. Once you are clear on these points, you can communicate them confidently, not out of fear or anger, but out of self-awareness and intentionality. Boundaries are most effective when they are consistent. It's one thing to declare what you will not accept. It's another to uphold it every time the situation arises. Consistency is a demonstration of integrity. It shows both yourself and others that you mean what you say. When you waver, it undermines your authority and sends mixed signals. But when you stand firm, you teach people how to treat you, and more importantly, you reinforce your own belief in your worth. Consistent boundaries create a sense of predictability and safety for yourself, which allows you to navigate relationships with confidence and clarity. Another critical aspect of strong boundaries is assertiveness. Boundaries are ineffective if they are communicated timidly, hesitantly, or with apology. You can express your needs firmly and respectfully without aggression or guilt. Assertiveness is the balance of strength and respect. Strength in standing for yourself and respect for others in communicating without hostility. It is the language of self-possession, and it leaves no room for manipulation or confusion. Boundaries are also about action, not just words. It's one thing to declare your limits, it's another to enforce them through behavior. If someone crosses a boundary, there must be a clear, immediate, and consistent response. This could be stepping back from interactions, reducing engagement, or removing yourself from situations that are harmful. The enforcement of boundaries is not about punishment, but about maintaining your own equilibrium. It demonstrates to both yourself and others that your well-being is a priority and that compromise should not come at the cost of your self-respect. Strengthening boundaries also transforms your inner landscape. When you hold your limits with confidence, you experience less anxiety, less confusion, and less emotional turbulence. You begin to attract relationships and experiences that align with your values and repel those that do not. People may test your boundaries at first, but over time, those who respect you will adjust, and those who cannot respect them will reveal themselves. This process can be uncomfortable, but it is necessary for growth and self-preservation. Ultimately, strong boundaries are not just about protecting yourself. They are about honoring yourself. They are the quiet power that allows you to engage with life fully while refusing to surrender your dignity. They are the framework upon which healthy relationships are built, because when you know your worth and live by it, others are guided to treat you accordingly. When you strengthen your boundaries, you step into your own authority and power, and in that space, life begins to flow with respect, clarity, and integrity. Elevating your energy and lifestyle is one of the most profound ways to reclaim your power and reshape the way the world interacts with you. It is not about showing off or proving anything to anyone. It is about living at a frequency that reflects your worth, your purpose, and your inner strength. When you focus on raising your energy, you naturally begin to attract situations, people, and experiences that align with your growth, while everything that no longer serves you falls away. It is the quiet, unstoppable force that changes your life from the inside out. The first step in elevating your energy is awareness of what drains you versus what nourishes you. Pay attention to the environments you inhabit, the people you interact with, and the activities you engage in daily. Are they lifting you up or pulling you down? Elevating your energy means intentionally surrounding yourself with positivity, inspiration, and opportunities for growth. It's about choosing experiences that make your heart feel full, your mind feel sharp, and your spirit feel alive. Every decision, from the smallest habits to the biggest life choices, becomes an opportunity to raise your vibration. Your physical environment plays a crucial role in this elevation. Spaces cluttered with distraction, negativity, or chaos tend to lower your energy without you even realizing it. Take time to create environments that support your highest self. Clear out what no longer serves you. Organize spaces that inspire focus and calm, and fill your surroundings with beauty and intention. When your external world reflects care and purpose, it reinforces the internal state you are cultivating, a state of empowerment and clarity. Self-care is another pillar of elevating your energy. This goes beyond occasional pampering and enters the realm of discipline and respect for yourself. Nourish your body with wholesome food, regular movement, and restorative rest. Listen to what it needs and respond with love and consistency. When your body feels vibrant, your mind sharp, and your emotions balanced, you are operating at a level of energy that commands respect without demanding attention. You become magnetic not because you try to be, but because your presence radiates vitality and confidence. Your mindset is equally vital. Elevating your energy requires a shift in perspective from scarcity to abundance, from doubt to belief, from reaction to intention. Challenge negative thought patterns, replace them with empowering truths, and focus on solutions rather than problems. Visualization, affirmations, and conscious reflection are tools that help you maintain this elevated state. When your inner dialogue aligns with your value, you project an energy that others cannot ignore, and it transforms the way you experience life. Lifestyle choices also shape your energy. The people you spend time with, the media you consume, the routines you uphold, all of these influence the frequency at which you operate. Surround yourself with individuals who inspire, challenge, and uplift you. Engage in activities that expand your skills, your creativity, and your confidence. Invest in experiences that bring joy, learning, and connection. Each choice to elevate your lifestyle is a statement of self-respect and a refusal to settle for mediocrity or stagnation. Ultimately, elevating your energy and lifestyle is not about forcing change on others or trying to impress anyone. It is about cultivating a life that reflects your highest self. When you operate from this place, the world responds accordingly. Relationships that are meant to be supportive deepen, opportunities aligned with your purpose emerge, and challenges that once felt overwhelming become manageable because your energy anchors you in strength and clarity. When you commit to raising your energy and lifestyle, you step into a life of abundance, authenticity, and influence, and everything else falls into alignment naturally. Letting natural consequences unfold is one of the most liberating and powerful practices you can embrace, especially when it comes to relationships and situations where you feel uncertain or powerless. So often we try to control outcomes, to manipulate circumstances, or to convince others to act in ways that satisfy our desires. We text, call, explain, justify, and chase, believing that our persistence can shape someone else's choices. But the truth is, no amount of effort on your part can make someone value, respect, or prioritize you if it is not already aligned with their own intentions. Learning to release control and allow events to unfold naturally is not about giving up. It is about reclaiming your peace, your dignity, and your sense of self. The first step in letting things unfold is surrender, not as a form of defeat, but as an act of trust in life and in your own resilience. You acknowledge that the universe, timing, and human nature operate independently of your will. When you accept that some outcomes are beyond your control, you free yourself from the exhausting cycle of trying to force situations to conform to your desires. This does not mean that you do nothing. It means that every action you take comes from a place of integrity, self-respect, and intentionality, rather than desperation or fear. Patience is a key companion in this process. When you stop trying to manipulate outcomes, it can feel uncomfortable at first. You may feel anxious, uncertain, or even restless. That is natural because for so long you may have equated effort with control. But patience allows you to witness life as it unfolds, to observe how people respond when you no longer chase, beg, or block. Often it is in this space of calm observation that the truth of any situation becomes clear. Patterns reveal themselves, intentions surface, and you gain insight into what aligns with your well-being and what does not. Trusting the process also requires confidence in your own value. You do not need to manipulate or convince anyone of your worth, because your worth is inherent and unshakable. When you act from this truth, your presence alone communicates strength, self-respect, and clarity. You stop negotiating for love, attention, or validation, and instead allow your life to reflect the value you hold. This alone has a transformative effect, not only on your own experience, but often on how others perceive and respond to you. Another important element is observation without interference. Let people and situations show you who they truly are. When you stop trying to control, you can see reality more clearly without the distortions of hope, fear, or projection. You notice the patterns, behaviors, and choices that reveal true intentions. This clarity allows you to make decisions from a place of wisdom rather than reaction. You no longer act out of impulse or attachment, you act out of alignment with your peace and long-term well-being. Letting natural consequences unfold also fosters resilience. Life will always present challenges, disappointments, or people who do not act as we wish. When you practice non-interference, you develop the ability to remain centered, calm, and grounded regardless of external circumstances. This resilience strengthens your character, empowers your decisions, and cultivates an inner peace that no one can take away. Ultimately, allowing life to unfold naturally is an act of faith in yourself and in the timing of your journey. It is about creating space for authenticity, truth, and alignment to emerge. You no longer have to exhaust yourself trying to control outcomes or people. Instead, you honor your own energy, trust your instincts, and move forward with dignity. When you step back and let life take its course, you often find that what is meant for you aligns effortlessly, and what is not fades naturally, leaving room for clarity, growth, and peace. When you embrace this practice, you discover that the real power lies not in controlling others, but in mastering your own presence, and in that mastery, everything falls into its rightful place.